JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 16th of July 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session, where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff, guys. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So check us out here on jfdbank.com, and yep, click on the research tab right there on the top, guys. So now then, jumping into the charts, the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, and we saw Nikkei drifting to the downside, and it fell below this 28,118 territory I spoke about previously, and drifted a little bit lower. However, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that from here we just, we will go lower and that's it. No, I mean, for me, in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the downside scenario, I would need to see a drop below the 27,385 territory right here. That's the lowest point of May, and then yes, this a break of that level would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and potentially more sellers could join in, so keep that in mind. For the upside, of course, a push back above the 28,118 territory may do the job here for a few more buyers. However, it still would be a little bit on the we would be still on a little bit on the careful side, because maybe a push above all of the EMAs actually could help out a few more bulls here, and then could lead the index towards this downside resistance line. But again, it is how it is. The index is already closed, I mean, for the week. So if we take a look at the weekly candle here, you can see that once again it ended the week in the red. So yeah, although it sounds a little bit on the negative side, I mean, it has been the third week in a row that it ended its trading session in the red, but still, as you can see, this hurdle here, the 27,385, is somehow doing its job and providing good support. So that's why I would prefer to wait for that break of that level in order to get comfortable with lower levels. I can see in the chat room here, Erica, good morning to you too. I hope you're having a fantastic start of Friday. So hopefully it all goes well, and of course that relates to everybody who's joining in this webinar, guys. I mean, I hope this trading Friday's trading is going to be good for you. Now, jumping back into Shanghai Composite, and while I'm here on the weekly candle, you can see that we're kind of flat for the week, and we're still kind of stuck in this little range here. And let me just jump back into a daily. So we're stuck in this little range here. For now, I mean, we cannot do much, and basically we can just keep an eye on the hurdles here. So for example, on the downside, I'm keeping an eye on this 3,503 territory, approximately around there, or in a way we could round it up towards the 3,500 level. It probably would be a little bit easier. And if we get a clear drop below it and we see the daily candle closing below it, then yes, this could increase the chances here for Shanghai Composite to drift a little bit to the downside here. But again, don't forget that we are still trading above this little short-term upside line taken from the low of the 9th of March, or actually more of a medium term now upside line. So, and it also coincides with the 200-day EMA. So that's why there we could get a good hold up somewhere around here. But again, we'll examine that if we do get that drop below the 3,500 level. For the upside, I have adjusted the level here in a little bit for the upside, and preferably, actually, now looking at this picture, preferably I would like to see a push above the current highest point of this week near the 3,567 mark. Although that might not happen today because we still have around 50 minutes left of trading here, but it might not happen today, but something for going into next week in that case. If we climb above this barrier, then yes, we will aim for the upper side of the this current short-term range. Quick update on Hang Seng index. Yep, we're pushing higher, and among the kind of the top Asian indices here, Hong Kong's Hang Seng is the gainer, and yep, we're seeing this index pushing back inside the this little rising channel. However, as I said before, for me the preference is still to wait maybe for a push above this 28,326 territory right here, and if we do see the daily candle staying above it, then yes, I will start getting a little bit more comfortable with the upside. The German index DAX, so very quickly on this one, so yeah, yesterday we drifted lower, tested the 21-day EMA. So what I talked about yesterday was that if it continues to struggle to kind of come closer to the current all-time high, which is roughly around the 15,810 zone, then we might see a bit of a retracement here, and we did see that. So now let's see if the other part of this idea will work out. Now, the idea was that if the 21-day EMA continues to provide support, then we might see maybe a bit of a move back up here again. But taking a look at the cash index right now, we can see that the price is actually sitting just bang on where it closed yesterday. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting day in that, I think, or I should say could be an interesting day, I think. So if by any chance we, let's say, drop below the 21-day EMA again and remain below it, then, well, I mean, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to aim for, initially, actually, I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to aim for the 15,456 territory right here initially, but if that gets overtaken, then of course the next better target is the 15,309 zone, which, as you can see, acted as a very nice area of support lately, and especially here in June and on the 8th of July as well. So very good target, but again, for that, in order to consider a move towards that area, first of all, we need to see the index continuing to trade below the 21-day EMA. Then we'll aim for this 15,456 territory. But if that gets cleared, then certainly yes, this could potentially open the door towards these lower areas here, and then we'll take it from there, of course. But of course, all that is in this scenario if we do see that daily candle staying below the 21-day EMA. If it rebounds from the 21-day EMA, then, well, I mean, maybe the upside is not off the table yet, and we could see maybe a test of the current all-time high at least. Now, jumping into NASDAQ 100. So yesterday we saw a decline here, and it lost ground and drifted lower. However, from the positive side, we got a hold up near this upside line taken from the low of the 19th of May. And for now, of course, the kind of the outlook remains still positive, because we even the cash index is still kind of trading above that upside line, and as long as it stays intact, there is still a good decent opportunity for NASDAQ 100 to drift higher. However, looking at this picture now, I would actually prefer to wait maybe for a push back above the 14,891 territory right here, which, as you can see, is marked by the high of the 7th of July, also acted as a good area of resistance and support lately. So If we climb back above this barrier, then yes, I will get a little bit more comfortable with the upside. If we don't, then I'm going to take a bit of a neutral stand. Also, if it stays, of course, above this upside line, but if it starts breaking the upside line and then falls below the yesterday's low, which is roughly around the 14,717 territory, now that's where it could become very interesting for a few more sellers, guys. Initially, what we're going to target then is the 14,551 zone here, marked by the low, the 8th of July, which also coincides with the 21-day EMA, and then we'll take it from there. Now, the dollar index, pushing higher here again. Of course, the sentiment changed, and yesterday the US dollar took its kind of safe haven coat on, put the safe haven coat on, and yep, it made its way higher. However, it still remains below this downside line. So, although it looks quite positive, but still we would like to see this one overcoming certain levels first. Now, previously, actually, I talked about this 92.74 territory, but this is probably the point where the level needs to be adjusted, and to be a little bit more on the safe side, keep your eyes on the highest point of July, the current highest point of July, near the 92.85 zone, approximately around here. If that 92.85 barrier gets broken, of course, not only that we will be already above this downside line, but it would also be forming a higher high here, and this way potentially attracting more buyers into the game. So, long story short, guys, the moment I would say it is kind of looking quite positive. However, certain obstacles need to be overcome first, and then yes, we could get a little bit more comfortable with higher levels. For the downside, still the same game plan. A drop below the 92 territory is needed in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the downside. Let me just get rid of this level here, no longer needed. You can see chat room here, Evo, yep, good morning to you. I hope you're also having a wonderful start of Friday, and I hope it'll kind of end this way as well, I mean, with a positive note. But again, stay safe, I mean, everybody, so, and everything will be fine. Now, jumping into gold very quickly, gold, it did push higher. However, this morning we're seeing a bit of a retracement here, which to be honest is all fine. So after I said that if we break this downside line and then we stay above the 1818 zone, this could increase the commodities chances of drifting higher a little bit towards this other downside line taken from the high of the 1st of June. Now, this is a tentative line, of course, but still a one to watch, of course. In a way, like I said, for now, I mean, even if it drifts a little bit lower here, even if it ends up testing the downside line again from above, again, we've seen these scenarios happening before, and I've mentioned this if you remember. So basically, we could see, let's say, the commodity drifting back down, for example, testing the downside line here, but from above, and then kind of sliding along it, and but then if it continues, let's say for example it doesn't still drop below it, then we could see a nice rebound and a push higher. And like I said, we've seen such scenarios happening before, so let's see if this is going to be the case before again. So yeah, but at the moment, of course, all eyes are going to be on this 1818 zone. Again, if it might not even drive all the way here towards this this downside line, it might just stay somewhere near this 1818 zone. If that's the case, then yep, well, and a rebound earlier could be possible. Now jumping into silver very quickly. So it's also a bit of a difficult one, I would say. To be honest, silver is looking a little bit more difficult than gold. For now, you can see that basically the 21-day EMA together with the 100-day EMA continue to provide resistance. So that's kind of a good thing here for the sellers. But at the same time, I mean, the bulls might take advantage of the lower price. So, in other words, that means that we're kind of in a no man's game here, because at the moment, I mean, I would say that we're stuck in between these two levels. So the 25.71 zone, and on the downside, and the 26.73 level on the upside. So for now, long story short, we will keep an eye on these two barriers in order to, and we'll wait for a break of those two barriers. One of those two barriers in order to consider the next short-term directional move. WTI oil very quickly here, so yeah, drifting lower, continue to drift lower, and well, I mean, for now, everything's kind of pointing a little bit more towards the downside. However, I need to see that drop below the 70.80 zone right here, marked by the current lowest point of July, and if that gets cleared, yes, this will confirm a forthcoming lower low and potentially attract more sellers into the game, where the next target here could be that 67s, or let's round it up here, maybe 68 zone, or this upside support line taken from the low, the 5th of April, which kind of coincides right now with the 100-day EMA, and then of course we'll take it from there, guys. For the upside, I need to see, well, I will take a very conservative approach here, and first of all, I'll get rid of this this upside line, and then I will stick to the current highest point of this week near the 75.47 zone. If we jump above it, then yes, we could consider maybe a bit of a move to the upside. Now, jumping into Litecoin very quickly here. So Litecoin is still drifting slowly to the downside, while trading below this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 20th of May. So in a way, for now, to be honest, there's not much positivity around here. In general, in the crypto world, of course, some of the opportunists are actually thinking that, you know, they might take advantage of the lower price. I would say yes, if you're willing to hold this longer, but at the moment, if we just purely apply technical analysis on this one, then it's still leaning more towards the downside. So if you for example enter right now, then it might take you a while until you could, you know, feel something. But again, it's guys, it's your decision. You know yourselves better. What's what's available for you, what's how your style of trading, you know that better. But here, just purely from the technical side, I mean, at the moment it's kind of leaning a little bit more towards the downside, guys. So again, if we break the downside line and push higher, yes, we could see maybe a short-term move higher, but still we would have these other EMAs to overcome, and I mean, it still could be a battle. It could still drift higher, but then find some resistance somewhere near the 200-day EMA and then drift back down. So we've seen that happening several times. So that's why for now I will take a bit of a careful approach in this one, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside. AUDNZD. So this pair has been one of the most beautiful ones this week, and yep, you can see why. I mean, we have these beautiful drops here. So what I said to you, well, actually this week when we saw the break here on Wednesday, I said that we might see a retracement, we might see a move push back up here, maybe towards this 1.0658 zone, which we did. We got a hold up here, and now we're kind of drifting back down. We've tested the lowest point of May, which I've targeted. That's 1.0 at 1.06 level, so that's great news. But today, as you can see, we are breaking this level as well. So my big question here is, will we stay below this level today? If we do, then yes, further declines are possible, of course. Then my next target is the lowest point of February here, and then which is around the 1.0540, and then we'll take it from there. But at the moment, I would say I would leave this pair for this week, because the initial kind of strategy was to aim only for this 1.06 level, and again, if what I'm being cautious about right now is just maybe seeing this as a false breakout, and if by the end of the day, for example, it still climbs back up here and stays somewhere above this 1.06 level, maybe then we could see a bit of a retracement back up here and going into next week, and then of course we'll see what the pair has prepared for us for next week. But at the moment, like I said, guys, yes, we are, of course, the near-term outlook is bearish, but given that we already had quite a decent decline here, I'm being careful with further declines, like I said, for this week, and want to see how this is going to end up being today. Jumping into AUDJPY very quickly. So yep, the pair is finding good support near this one, this 200-day EMA, shown as the black line here, near this 81.32 level as well, which is currently the lowest point of July. And yeah, so this is quite straightforward, to be honest. If you want to aim for lower levels, wait for that drop below that hurdle, below this 81.32 zone. If we clear that, then certainly this confirms a forthcoming lower low, and our next target is somewhere around here, the 80.65 level, which, as you can see, marks the high of the 29th of January here and the low of the 9th of February. And then we'll take it from there, guys. For the upside, what I need here to see is a push somewhere above this 82.82 zone, and then we could consider maybe a bit of a larger correction to the upside. NZD CAD. Now this one is interesting as well. So pushing higher. So after we broke this downside line a while ago here, the pair continues to drift north. And yeah, so for now, I would say everything's looking quite positive. However, we would like to see maybe this barrier getting overtaken first in order to not to get something like a range here eventually. So so basically, what could happen here is this could continue stalling near this area in between the 0.8853 and 0.8863 levels. If it kind of struggles to overcome that, then maybe a bit of a decline here back down could be possible, and then of course we would have to reevaluate certain things again. But at the moment, guys, I mean, like I said, it might continue, let's say, getting a hold up here, then drift back down, test this little short-term upside line, rebound from it, and then end up breaking this highlighted zone here. But again, that's of course the ideal scenario, I would say. I mean, the markets don't always do everything the way that we wanted them to do. But long story short, either way, guys, in order to get a little bit more comfortable with the upside, a break of this territory here would be needed. USDCHF, quick update. To be honest, not much. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but I talked about this one from the beginning of this week, basically, and I said that in order to get comfortable with further declines, we need to see that daily candle remaining below this 0.9142 territory, and you can see why. We kept getting these false breakouts here, and as you can see, we dropped below, at one point we dropped below this 200-day EMA as well, so everything looked quite bearish, but we found support near the 100-day EMA, and we rebounded and pushed higher. However, for the upside, we are still struggling with this 0.9194 territory right here, and that's why for now I'm gonna be very careful here, and if we do climb above this area, then yes, I will aim for the current highest point of July near the 0.9275 level, and then I'll take it from there. USDJPY, also quick update. Also, we need to see that move here. I keep talking about this from the beginning of this week, and well, we are not still getting that. So yeah, that's why we're playing a bit of a waiting game here. If we do see a strong move below this 109.72 territory, well, that's where I'll start aiming for the downside. Initially aiming for the 109.20 zone, which is near the 100-day EMA, and then maybe further declines could be possible. But at the moment, guys, like I said, this this area needs to be cleared first, and then yes, we could consider lower levels. GBPJPY, similar story as well, but here we have also a bit of a wider territory that needs to be cleared. So although I do understand that maybe this is the more comfortable level here, the 150.73 level, which is marked by the low of the 3rd of May here, or in other words, the lowest point of May, and is also near the lowest point of July. Yes, of course, that is the more comfortable level here for the to examine the downside, but I'll start looking at lower levels already if we get a drop below this 100-day EMA near the 150.32 zone, and then yes, that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for more sellers, because that's basically also the lowest point of June, and yep, more sellers could start jumping in here. EURGBP, one of my least favorite pairs, but to be honest, as much as it is my least favorite pairs, it always is interesting to watch it, observe it, and I mean, it just sometimes just has a mind of its own. So at the moment, if we take a picture like this, I mean, if we draw it this way, then it could be forming a possible falling wedge pattern, which of course, according to all the TAY rules, tends to break to the upside. But again, that's EURGBP we're talking about. It sometimes does what it wants to do, so it doesn't really sometimes follow the technical analysis strategies. But for now, looking at this, I mean, if you want to aim for the downside, for example, I would rather stay and wait for a drop below this lowest point of April first, near the 0.8472. For the upside, I would like to see a break of the upper side of the falling wedge first, and then start aiming higher. So that's the kind of little maybe unclear game plan, but again, it's EURGBP we're talking about here, so this sometimes does what it wants to do. Sometimes it doesn't follow the straightforward logic. And EURUSD here very quickly, so we're stuck, we're not really doing much. So basically I said to you yesterday that in order to consider maybe a bit of an upside, a push above the 1.1836 level is needed. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the 1.1772 territory. I know that we might be losing out on a bit of territory here, but to be honest, looking at this price action, we rather be a little bit on the safe side, guys. So yeah, so from my side, like I said, I would prefer to wait for a clear break through one of these levels first before considering the next short-term directional move. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening, and thank you very much for joining in. I really appreciate your views, your likes, your comments, guys. I really do. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful trading day, have a wonderful weekend, and if you want to catch me on Monday, as always, in my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful, like I said, wonderful time. Have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. So, thank you very much, and bye-bye.